views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Wow, everybody, this is amazing. You are amazing. Thank you all for tuning us in, turning us on. You know, we have a great show, the Empowered Self series with my co-host, Dr. Friedemann Schaub. What are your priorities for the holidays? I am like already breaking out in a hot flash about this topic. That's what I'm saying. I'm having a little hot flash about it. You know, what are my priorities for the holidays? No. Benny, do we dare talk about eating like 5 pieces of pie as like sort of a priority?
I don't see anything wrong with that.
I don't see anything wrong with it because I don't really do it all year round, you see?
That's why there's no problem with that.
I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, all right.
That's it. Dr. Friedemann Schaub, you know what? He works with people all over the world. Phenomenal book, The Fear and Anxiety Solution. I am so glad we got to take this journey with him to watch how this is done, how you step out into the world and you say, wait a minute. Yeah, I am the founder of Cellular Wisdom, which he is. Phenomenal personal breakthrough and empowerment program, so that if there's anything going on that's blocking you from your greater good, he's the person you want to call and say, I need help. I want to overcome your emotional, physical challenges. I want to move beyond this. Not only is he brilliant in doing that, he's not going to stretch this out for 10 years. It's not going to happen that way. So that you can really look at your life, create, get beyond whatever's stopping you, and create an epic life. Why? Because it's about personal breakthrough and empowerment. Every show he and I do, it focuses on how we can share knowledge with all of you so that you can choose. What do I want for a life? Do I want to live small? Do I want to stay here? Do I want to go there? And how do I get the tools to do it? This is what he does. Now, beyond all of that, here's what I want to say. If you're sitting and you're listening to today's show and you're not really sure, call 866-903-6463. And as Dr. Friedemann does, he will give you a free telephone consultation. So you can figure out, do I want this? Do I want that? How do I want to move forward? But today's show, it's all about priorities, and it's all about the holiday season. Do we want joy? Do we want freedom? Or do we want something else? Usually chaos, confusion, anger, and discontentment. But here we go. How do we change the cycle? Dr. Schaub, thank you for joining us here today. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to all of you, yes. And isn't it like a big question to ask yourself? What are the priorities? Because this is actually the question I was asking myself this year. And maybe that's the first year I'm actually wondering that, because I wanted to make a difference for myself. I wanted to really celebrate the holidays in a way that doesn't leave me afterwards drained, exhausted, and disillusioned. And so it's a good question to ask, I think. What are actually our priorities for this holiday season?
Well, how do we even start with that? Because we all get spun up really quickly, right, Dr. Friedemann? We all get spun up with our to-do list. And I'm not saying that our to-do list actually has an order to it, because we're so moving into the to-doing, we actually don't necessarily take time to figure out what our priorities are. Where do we start?
Well, I think it's always good to look at the problem first. I mean, if you are celebrating the holidays and you feel absolutely content and happy and just feeling like, I don't want to miss it in the world, and every time afterwards I can't wait for the next holidays to come around the corner, you have to switch the channel because, you're happy. It's all good. So you don't have to listen to this. But if you are feeling stressed during the holidays, if you're feeling that Uncle Arthur drives you nuts every year he's coming around, if you're feeling at the end that basically you once again have been overgiving and overdoing and really felt like it was flying by in a blur without really giving you any meaning or any satisfaction, then we have to look closer at what is it actually that you can change and how can you make the holidays more meaningful for yourself.
I don't know what your experience is, Dr. Friedemann, but, chances are that you and I have had some holiday experiences that have not been, let's just say, joyful. I will say that today, it is really incredible to see the difference in how I used to spend those holidays and how I spend them now. Here we live in a world where we get to choose what we plug into. Are we going to watch the news or are we going to watch The Voice? The singing show.
Right,
Where are we going to put ourselves? How are we going to put ourselves there? And I want to ask you this question. What is the impact of how we show up and where we show up in the holiday season? What is the impact of those choices?
I think it can make the difference, not only for you, but also for the people around you, because we all know when we are stressed or when we are tense, those around us feel it, and it changes the entire atmosphere. It changes the entire energy. I mean, my mother was a great example because the holidays, she always did everything and too much, and she never let anyone help. And she spent hours and hours in the kitchen into her 70s and just never really wanted anyone to mess with what she was cooking because it was her tradition to just really exhaust herself so that when we finally sat down to eat, she couldn't really enjoy it because she was too tired. And she hadn't really, until the very last Christmas we celebrated together, she never really had learned to simply relax and be more present in the moment and let people just have a communal experience by working together and helping each other. All of those things she finally got basically the year where she died, but it was something that I feel I learned from because I was thinking in similar ways. It needs to be perfect. Everything needs to be wonderfully decorated. The food needs to be impeccable. Everyone who's coming needs to be looked after and be happy. But what about us? What about, when we are the ones that are setting the table and when we are creating the atmosphere, are we really thinking about ourselves? Are we really wondering, what do I actually want to get out of this holiday season? And so I think being in a place where you have a greater intentionality, where you really say this holiday season is all about, for me, to have a theme, maybe the theme about really appreciating the people in my life, rather than just running by and serving them an extra, dish. I actually want to sit down with them and talk with them and just be happy that they're there. Or maybe you can celebrate the things that you enjoy in life, because most people do have time off during the holidays, and just taking some time to really do something that makes you happy, that celebrates you. Or maybe we can practice also to have more acceptance with those people that usually we kind of feel push our buttons, and just learn to look underneath that, what triggers us, and find also the gift in their presence. I mean, you can just sit down with a piece of paper and think about what could be my theme. What do I really want to get out of this holiday season? Because what I remember as a child was that the holidays were always magic. There was something really special about it, and that magic got lost when I was like 16 or 17 years old, and then it just became kind of stressful. And bringing back this magic and realizing, well, when so many people in the world are celebrating together, there is an energy, there is a consciousness that I think is really special and unique. And what if we are simply tapping into that magic of that time and set an intention for what we want to learn and what we want to experience in that time? And that's one way to start having a good priority for your holidays.
Yeah. And, this is really kind of the conversation at the beginning of how we go from where we are today to having an amazing holiday. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk with Dr. Friedemann Schaub about a number of different things. But, how does our subconscious mind operate here? And what is it about, family events that really has us cringe a little bit? Is it folks are angry? Is it folks are afraid? What is it about ourselves that we bring to the table that has us staying in our past? And what can we change? What can we do differently? When we come back, we'll talk about a brand new breakthrough fear and anxiety 3-month intensive that's starting and how you can work with Dr. Friedemann Schaub directly. Let's take a short break, everyone. We'll be right back.
Almost everyone at some time in their lives ask themselves, what am I? Most of our questions are ego-generated and simply don't address the problem of our false self. It's time to relax your ego and embody your soul. Dr. Dan Cohen, neurologist, inventor, and author, has created tools to awaken a new way to transform from who you thought you were into what you truly are. Visit toolstoawaken.com today.
Transformation Talk Radio is dedicated to the education and awareness of Lyme disease.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Lyme Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Pat, joined here by
Dr. Nusheen Darvish.
Dr. Pat Basili and Dr. Nusheen Darvish will be bringing the most innovative, groundbreaking information, research, treatment innovations, and stories from those it affects every day.
I'm so excited to be talking about this.
We have so much to share.
Dr. Darvish and I are planning to do is connect the dots.
People suffering with all sorts of chronic diseases, it's time. It is time for them to transform.
Tune into Lyme Talk Radio and help keep our mission strong.
For the loyal listeners out there that have been listening to this incredible show on Lyme disease, we are not going to let you down. We're going to come through stronger and enrich the platform for Lyme disease awareness through Lyme Talk Radio. The message will continue, the conversations will become stronger, and the healing epic.
The new era of financial planning is upon us, where it is just as important to focus on your inner wealth game as it is your outer wealth game. Would you like to be in the forefront of this new groundbreaking financial movement? Lynn Brown, award-winning financial planner, energy coach, and international radio host, will share real, actionable money wisdom infused with empowering tips, fear-busting exercises, and money-growing magnetism. Are you ready to create your fully financially healthy life? Join Lynn for this free 2-hour full-spectrum financial planning workshop in Bellevue, Washington on January 12th from 6 to 8 p.m. Register by January 5th as space is limited and will fill up fast. Call in today at 425-372-4749. That's 425-372-4749. Light food and beverages will be included. See you there. Calling all dreamers. Are you living your dream life? Actualize your possibilities with Life Coaching Radio and your host, Deb Stetzer. If you're feeling stuck in a rut, Deb is here to help you turn your dreams into a reality. Life Coaching Radio. Dream it, live it, be it. To learn more about Deb, visit www.mylifecoach.us.
Naturopathic doctor, founder of the Martha's Vineyard Holistic Retreat, and author of the New York Times bestseller 21 Pounds in 21 Days, Dr. Ronnie DeLuce has helped tens of thousands of people, including celebrities and athletes, with her message of lifestyle change. Now Dr. Ronnie DeLuce wants to help you. You too can be saved. Email Dr. Ronnie DeLuce at info@ronniedeluceonradio.com and visit mvholisticretreat.com. Dr. Ronnie DeLuce, your partner in wellness.
How about giving me some of that good stuff?
Well, here it is. Here it is. Here it is.
Wow. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Phone lines are open. You want to do something different for the holidays? You want to get some help on your priorities? Dr. Friedemann Schaub is in the house. This would be the time to do it. You want to get some help live on air, how to move from whatever that thing is that you're pondering about, thinking, holidays. It doesn't have to be like that. Today, phone lines open, 1-800-930-2819. 1-800-930-2819. You know, this is a time of change. And, you know, the question really is, what kind of change do you want to invite? Now, Dr. Friedemann has got some very, very cool things. Brand new website launch. And in January, we are launching his radio show. You're going to get to hear him as he talks about some of the most thought-provoking new ideas, how to break through fear, anxiety, and we will have a date for you fairly soon about that. But think about this. Do you want to start the new year off letting go of fear and anxiety? Well, this is a time for new beginnings. Breakthrough Fear and Anxiety, 3-month intensive starting January. Now, Dr. Friedemann, before we keep going here, tell folks how they can find out more about this, how they can sign up, and what is the intensive about?
Well, the Fear and Anxiety Intensive is a 3-month program that helps you guaranteed to overcome your anxiety because it really addresses where the anxiety comes from. It helps you to resolve those deeper root causes, and then it helps you to rebuild a brand new foundation of self, a foundation that is build on confidence and inner peace, and it really addresses all aspects of anxiety. You know, often we are dealing with anxiety and we just want to get rid of it or somehow make it at least less, but we are not really thinking about what is actually anxiety trying to tell us, what is actually really the deeper reason for the anxiety, and is there maybe something that the anxiety allows us then to grow and learn from? And that's what this 3 months seminar is all about. It really helps you to have a whole new understanding of why you're creating anxiety, why this anxiety is actually an opportunity for you, why it is called the untapped power of the mind, and how you can leverage this power to really start 2016 as the year, the breakout year of yourself. And 3 months are something I believe is necessary to really outgrow something. You know, we often want to do these things quickly, like a weekend or maybe just, you know, a few times where you just focus on something and then the light switch needs to go off and you need to feel better. But when it really comes to something so important, like your own fears, your own insecurities, the constant stress you're working through day by day, then we have to have time to really discover and then address all these different aspects of the anxiety. And you will get every other week, there is on Saturdays a video webinar that is an hour and a half to 2 hours long. Every other week, then there is alternating a question and answer session where you can directly ask me anything that you need to know about your fear and anxiety and about that, what we have been working on in the video seminar. You will get tools and homework every week that help you to further really implement that, what you have learned and that, what we have been focusing on. And so at the end of these 3 months, you will really feel that on so many levels, you have discovered who you are, you have empowered yourself, and you have transformed. And that is what I'm really, really excited about, helping people. And when we have done something similar in the past, the results have been phenomenal. And so I'm happy to have you as a part of this fear and anxiety group that is already coming together. And you can find out more about it at thefearandanxietysolution.com. Thefearandanxietysolution.com. It's in one word, and then you just click on online seminar and you'll find it there.
Well, this is really for all of us, stepping into a way that the life that we want, the things we want differently to happen in life are really at our possibilities now. That we are saying that I'm done. I'm done, Dr. Friedemann. I'm done with struggling. I want a new way to live. I'm done with being afraid. I'm done with being in a place of anger and resentment. And saying that sounds really kind of interesting, doesn't it? But as I'm saying that, what the heck is my subconscious mind saying to me?
Well, it's interesting because the I am done is a really good intention, right? I am done also with being stressed in the holidays. I'm done with overgiving. But unfortunately, the subconscious will probably still, when push comes to shove, when certain triggers happen, go back to the old patterns, because those old patterns have a reason to be there. And most of the times when it comes to these, for example, anxiety patterns, the reason is that somehow anxiety and stress are here to protect us, are here to help us to not make a mistake, to not get judged, to not get rejected. And let's say you were as a child the one that always was the goody two-shoes or the pleaser or the peacemaker. And now as an adult, you're going to still do the same thing. So when the whole family is gathering around the Christmas tree, you're going to be still the one who somehow wants to diffuse any tension, who wants to make sure that everyone is happy, who doesn't necessarily say what he or she is thinking, but really just, hold yourself back and be in the server role. And that's something that has been probably with you for a long time. And every time you somehow at the end of it may resent yourself or resent the people that you have been giving so much to, but why you're still doing it? Because your subconscious hasn't really understood yet that there are other options, that you don't have to keep yourself safe by being the pleaser, or that you don't have to be afraid of the criticism of others. You can actually have a voice. That is something that when you really want to change, you have to also convey to your subconscious mind, and there are amazing tools and amazing processes to do that. And that's what you will learn in that seminar that starts on January 16th.
Well, one of the things too is coming up with the notion that we can have a great life. Let's talk about this for a minute, in the world that we live in today. There is a cycle that many of us that have gone through the holidays have created. There is a cycle. This is the idea of saying to ourselves, I'm really done. What are we saying I'm done to? But there, even as I say that I'm done, there's a part of me that says, well, wait a minute. If I'm done with that, what am I really wanting? What am I really wanting? What do I want this holiday? How do you, Dr. Friedemann, how do you help people discover their desires? If I'm really clear, as many people are, I don't want this, I don't want that. You know what I mean? I don't want. But yet, you say, okay, all right. What do you want? Well, do you want to live on cookies? Do you want to live on coffee? What do you want to live on? How do you help folks explore that?
You know what's really interesting about that? A lot of people start actually with that question that they say, I just don't know what I want. I really want to know what I, do for a living. I want to find my purpose. I want to find my passion. But what I find is that it's really the wrong question to ask, because somehow the answer is already there. What we have to ask ourselves, what blocks us? What blocks us from really finding the answer? And so often it is actually the fear that blocks us, the fear of, if I really would go for what I want, I probably would fail, or I would be rejected. the fear of that sense of not being good enough or not being really safe or that not really deserving to have what I want. That is the block. And what I see in, all these clients I've been working with for the last, 15 years is that once those blocks are removed, it's almost like a source, a spring of ideas and purpose and an energy that is so creative that has been always there, but it has been just always stopped from coming forth based on those limiting beliefs, based on those fears, based on those stories of the past. And that is what needs to be addressed, because I really believe we all know what we're here for and we all know what we really want, but we don't necessarily give ourselves permission to go for it.
Exactly. We're going to take a short break. Are you ready to go for it? What is it you want to go for? How quickly can you get there? What is it about fear and anxiety that gets to show up brilliantly during the holiday season? When we come back, we're going to talk about how to recognize it. How do I know that I'm entering into the zone of stress? How do I know that I'm on the edge of anxiety? What is it that I can learn about this? And then know how to stay relaxed, get more done, and truly enjoy this most special time of the year. We're going to take a short break. Dr. Friedemann Show, the Empowered Self series. What are your priorities for the holidays? Do you guys actually have a priority list? Do you know what they are? I'm going to think about this. We'll see what mine are when we come back. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for a game changer? Sarah Westall is bringing you Business Game Changers Radio. Sarah brings you leading experts, visionaries, and newsmakers who provide the best commentary on big issues and cutting-edge innovations. Sarah's 20 years as a business executive will help you think like an entrepreneur with expertise, energy, and attitude. Tune in to Business Game Changers Mondays at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
The Doctor is in. Tune in to the hit show, The Psychic Love Doctor, with host Deborah Lee. Deborah's life-affirming, highly perceptive reading method has taught Deborah how to zero in on specific problems with relationships, career pursuits, and current roadblocks to success and happiness. Join Deborah Fridays at 2 p.m. Pacific, and for a special broadcast the second Thursday of every month at 11 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Do you want the freedom to spend more time with your loved ones? Travel the world? Live spontaneously? Get ready, because the Chip Justice Show is here. Hosts Dr. Pat Basile and Chip Justice can help you build meaningful success while embracing life. Living a life you love is the end game in this new, inspirational, and empowering show. Positive changes for a life you'll love. Tune in every month on TransformationTalkRadio.com and visit PositiveChangeInstitute.co for more information.
My dream is to end homelessness.
My passion is living a green life.
My dream is to end poverty.
My passion is volunteering.
My passion is making a difference.
My dream is to cure Lyme disease.
My passion is rebuilding communities.
My passion is helping those in need.
My passion is caring for the elderly.
My dream is to find a cure for cancer.
My dream is to leave a better world for my children.
We all have that special passion, that lifelong dream that drives us to live our lives with meaning and to create a better world. No matter what drives you, we can all make an impact. Dr. Pat Basile is helping others make their dreams come true, so we can all help make our world a better world.
To learn more about how Dr. Pat is building a community of sharing hope, strength, funds, knowledge, and information, visit abetterworldcrowdfunding.com today. That's abetterworldcrowdfunding.com.
Wow. Hey, everyone. I just want to, I forgot to mention to everyone that you can also go to the drpatshow.com and ask your question on the right-hand side. Just ask your question. I forgot to mention that because I got a couple of questions that I need to bring up here for Dr. Friedemann. And if you would like to call in to ask a question directly in the show, 1-800-930-2819. We're talking about a lot of things, but again, make sure you go to the fear and anxiety solution. It is really a time of new beginnings. When you go there, you're going to see a brand new website, new opportunities. And in January, Dr. Friedemann is going to be doing his own radio show on Transformation Talk Radio. So we're very excited about that as well. But here we are today. This is the now moment. How can we create the holidays? How do we do that? Dr. Friedemann, I wonder if I could start with the question that came in from one of our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. This is a question from Jolie. I think it's Jolie that came in. And Jolie, I believe you're saying you're from Tennessee. I think that's what that abbreviation means, but let me kick it up. Here's the question. I love this show. I love the holidays. I dread spending them with my family. I would love for Dr. Friedemann to help me. Do I not spend them with my family? Or how can I understand what my fear is about? Now, that's a deep question, and I will tell you that is one of those questions that just like many, many people are asking about the holidays. But I think it also talks to what you said before and talk about putting things in perspective. How might we begin that, Dr. Friedemann?
Well, I think, she mentioned fear. And of course, the question is, what is that fear about? Is that fear a fear about not being seen? Is it a fear of not being able to be yourself around your family? Is it a fear of the tension that may be between members of the family that always erupts during the holidays? Is it the fear of having to hold yourself back when you feel that you're thinking differently or that you are differently than them, but you feel like somehow you cannot speak up, you don't have a voice? I mean, there are different layers of fear, but it has often to do with the feeling of somehow not being safe and somehow not belonging to the people we're spending time with. And so, we obviously don't choose our family, at least not consciously. We choose our friends, but we don't choose our family. So we wonder, why do we spend actually not the holidays with the people that we really choose and we care about? Why do we have to be with the people that we somehow don't choose? It's not an obligation to spend time with your family, but it may be an opportunity. It may be something where you really learn a lot about yourself and also learn about, well, are there old patterns that I just have been repeating over and over again that not only show up during the holidays, but may actually show up in other aspects of my life as well? And what if my intention would be to chip away on those patterns and just do a little bit something differently? Here's an example. I had a client once who was also dreading the holidays and dreading spending them with her family and always feeling like she was a weirdo and she was the one who didn't really fit in or wasn't really accepted. And every time she went to any kind of holidays, Thanksgiving, Easter, birthdays, or Christmas, she just felt shrinking in herself. And she had sometimes got sick. Sometimes she afterwards had, a flu because of the stress. And she had her own past, though. So whenever she was away from her family, she really was interested in growing and spiritual development. And we worked together and worked on her anxiety and her insecurity. And at some point she realized, well, what really was actually happening is that her family seemed to have kind of stagnated. They haven't really grown. They haven't really changed. They were still entangled in old ways of relating to each other, and she had grown beyond. She was interested in things that her family didn't really know about. She had a wider perspective on life and herself, and that growth made her feel even more uncomfortable, even more as if she doesn't really belong. But then we discussed what if she actually would help the family to see her more clearly, and also by simply being herself, maybe be a catalyst for the family also to grow, maybe for the family to widen a little bit her perspective. So she went to the holiday party at the family, and she volunteered actually to give the blessing as the meal started. And she did give the blessing in the way that she actually had as a spiritual belief developed, and she did it in a way that was unique and was personal to her, and she was committed. Her intention was to not hold back, but really just be her true self in that moment. And to her surprise, everyone loved it, and everyone was curious about it, and everyone is appreciating it. And what felt like a dread was actually a real celebration for her, because she felt like, oh, for the first time in my life ever, I could actually be myself, and I was actually seen for myself. And that was certainly for her a breakthrough. And this is something also you may want to just have as an intention. Are there moments where you may want to show up as yourself and just give, therefore, yourself the opportunity to realize I am safe no matter what they're thinking, and give others the opportunity to maybe learn from you, but also maybe just embrace you, accept you, and learn to love you for who you are and not for who you pretended to be. That may be a real meaningful, great priority for your holidays.
You know, I have to tell you, you and I were talking during the break, and I was saying to you that, I was really looking forward to this holiday season. And I was looking forward to it because there are many, many things, today that I think about that I'm really grateful about. Benny and I were kidding before about the pies and so forth. And I have to tell you, yeah, I'm looking forward to for a little bit of that. But I will say that, one of the gifts I got for my birthday was this Fitbit. And, this Fitbit thing that you wear on your wrist, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was so resistant to doing that. I was so resistant to putting the Fitbit on. But I went into the studio yesterday, and Benny saw me. I had my Fitbit on. At the end of the day, I have this thing around my wrist, and it tells me how many steps I took, how many stairs I took, all of the above. Now, this is interesting that I'm talking with you about it, because there are so many things that I think we resist, and resist them for reasons which aren't really actually what show up. You see what I'm saying? Now,
Yeah.
I welcome putting the little Fitbit thing on. I don't feel like, no, I didn't make my 10,000 step goal yesterday. But at least it gives me a measure of how I'm doing, because I do have a goal, Dr. Friedemann, or as I should say, I do have an intention to really be in the best shape of my life. How is it you might be able to help some folks here with this topic today about setting an intention that will help them create something different this year, break the cycle?
Well, resistance is a really good word, because it is such a common and at the same time overlooked trigger to feeling anxious and stressed. I talked to a client actually today about this, because she was in a situation at a meeting at her business where somehow she just noticed there was resistance coming up. And she doesn't really sure why this resistance came up, but what she noticed was that the resistance very quickly led to anxiety and led just to a feeling of overwhelm. And so when we backtracked again, it was clear that the resistance was based upon her definition on what the situation was about, because it was basically a situation where someone was trying to get a job at her company. So it was an interview, and that person was basically talking and talking. And the more that person who got interviewed felt that she was getting into resistance, the more the person was talking. And the faster the person was talking, and the harder the person tried to convince her that, she would be the right person for this job. And that created just more of overwhelming anxiety in her. And so it just was a vicious cycle. But for her, the interpretation was someone talking to me or talking at me like this. This is a person who wants something from me. This is a person who is somehow trying to control me. And that brought up resistance. But when we looked at this situation from a different angle, and we looked at it more from the compassionate angle, how this person was actually really trying somehow so hard to get this job, and the more she felt that there was a disinterest, the harder she tried, and the more she was just basically flailing to get attention, when she was actually opening her mind to seeing, oh, this person doesn't want to control me. She's just trying so hard to please me, so hard to somehow, out of her own need, get accepted. There wasn't a resistance anymore. Then she could accept this person. And there was the same thing with another client who had resistance to go to a holiday party of work and said, I don't like this because it's not really social. It's actually work, and I don't really feel like I want to go. And again, the resistance came from the idea that it's work and she had to be a certain way. Now, when we framed it in a way that said, no, this is actually year-end celebration where everyone comes together to really also be grateful for each other's presence and see the contributions they all made together, and how it's more like almost like a family of choice that comes together and is actually proud of each other. There was a whole different feeling. There was more a celebratory feeling to it than a have to feeling. And I'm saying, the gist of it, really notice that sometimes we create resistance based upon old playbooks, old ideas on, oh, this means that, and this is what my parents told me means that, and we don't really choose the meaning of anything. So maybe we look at the holiday and we have the old idea of, oh, the holidays mean that we overeat, overdrink, and at the end we fight. But maybe that's the old playbook. That's the old idea. Maybe you want to see the holidays differently. Maybe you want to see the holidays as more a celebration of life, or a celebration of just people that somehow have been together for decades, once again coming together and this time learning to know each other better. Just change your frame around the holidays. Be more open and be also willing to go deeper, because that's one of those things that I felt often missing at the holidays, the depth. It was nice and on the surface, but at the end, nobody really was willing to go deeper. And I think if you pick one person in this whole holiday gathering that you say, that's the one person I want to go deeper with, that's the one person I want to go between meals for a walk and just talk a little bit more, share a little bit more, get a little bit closer to, then you certainly have really a chance to make these holiday seasons more meaningful.
Dr. Friedemann, I want to talk about this, and I think it's going to be perfect to skip the break here. And here's why I want to talk about this. Let's stay with this idea of going deeper, because one of the things that we have is this idea that going deeper has to be intense, has to be hard. And you know what? I am discovering something really interesting. And I would like for you to just comment on this. I shared with you that this Friday I had a birthday, and I really wasn't planning to do anything. I wasn't planning to go out. I was invited to go out dancing, and I was just like, I don't know. There's just something about hanging out here with Linda. I don't know, watching reruns or something. It just felt really good. And I had an unexpected visitor. My friends came down, and and this beautiful 8-year-old that I've actually known even before she was born. I'm her auntie. Came down and said to me, Miss Patty, we'd love to celebrate our birthday with you. I'd love to celebrate your birthday. Came down. Now, this is one of these moments that I didn't think about, Dr. Friedemann, but you just nailed it. This was a moment that was fun, that I got to share again with an 8-year-old. Of course, the others were there with an 8-year-old, and it was a deeper connection. And I just didn't get it until you just said that right here. It was amazing. Here it was. I got this beautiful card picked out by this 8-year-old, and boy, does she know me. It was abstract. It looked like there were angels on it, and then got me a couple of gifts that immediately got put up. And it was a special time. It took no more than an hour, and it was fun. Can you please talk to this? Because what you said is so important, and yet we have this idea, go deeper. I don't think it could get much deeper than that. And yes, it was an 8-year-old. And you know what the comment was? The comment was, man, Patty talks to her like she's an adult. I never even thought about this, but you just said something that every single one of us could do. How do we get rid of the old idea of the fact that this has to be hard and uncomfortable?
Well, going deeper is basically just being your more authentic self. It doesn't mean you have to bring up the problems. It doesn't mean that you have to dig in the post and old traumas. It's really just about being your authentic self and really showing more to the person your own maybe vulnerabilities or your own heart and your own level of interest that you usually don't share. I mean, for example, my brother-in-law is someone that I really have, before the last holidays where we went together, I have chosen to go deeper with. And it's surprising just to see when you are more authentic, when you ask really questions that are more going to the heart, not questions that bring up sadness or fear or insecurity, but questions that are more about what do you really like, what are you really interested in, and how do you really juggle all these things in your life, and sometimes also talking about their dreams. That is a way of going deeper, but that's a way that really touches us because it is about who we are, not about who we pretend to be, not about what the job is like, not about the gifts we're giving. It's about who we really are. And isn't that really what getting together means? That we have a chance to be seen, that we have a chance to see each other and understand each other. Because it doesn't matter how many pies you eat, it doesn't matter how many gifts you give, it really matters how much you actually understand each other. And how can we understand each other if we are not willing to be ourselves, if we're not willing to go to a level of authenticity that actually makes us show up for each other and makes us see and understand and really in many ways appreciate each other. And so I don't know if you saw this commercial on, it's a German commercial. It was very controversial because the way it was done, but I love it because every time, you really need tissues with that, I tell you. It's this commercial of this supermarket chain in Germany, which is about, did you ever see that? It's this older man who basically once again gets his calls from all his busy children that say, oh, sorry, this year we can't come again. Oh, we don't have time. Oh, this is really too bad. And so he sits alone by the Christmas tree, eats by himself with his little dog and looks pretty sad. And, next scene, people get calls and cards that unfortunately he died. And, they are all totally in shock and they travel from all over the world together to basically meet all at the same time in his little apartment. And while they go into the apartment, the table is set, the candles are lit, and then the old man comes out and says, well, how else could I get you all together? And that is really a great example of how our priorities are not right. We wait sometimes to lose someone, to really honor them, to really see them. And that's what you can really avoid. Don't take the people, no matter how controversial or difficult or how much they are really triggering you, don't take them for granted. Give yourself a chance to learn to know them better, to make them understand you better by showing up with greater depth and authenticity.
I love it. And, I do know the commercial you're talking about. And one of the things that I loved about it was, I think at the end of the commercial, I know it's in German, but there is a translation. And at the end of the commercial, it says on the screen, time to come home. And what I love about that is that can be taken literally,
Right.
or it can be taken more conceptually, right?
Right.
Or more of
Absolutely.
a metaphor, because this is really what you're saying. It is time to come home, but come
Yes.
home to the exact true nature of who we are.
Absolutely. And really make that being yourself and being at home with yourself also as an invitation to others around you to come to your home and be at home with themselves. And when we all in that place, then really the holidays don't just circle around spending time together and getting it over with. Then it's really in so many ways an exciting discovery of, wow, what is actually possible in that family, and how can we actually not just be family members but actually friends and supporters for each other. That is what coming together gives everyone as an opportunity. So if you're looking for an intention, just make your family also your friends for this holiday season and see how this can actually change a lot in your dynamics with each other.
One of the other things I know you do, Dr. Friedemann, is you also work with people who, like us, are very, very busy and also have a very difficult time of really setting the stage to prioritize things. To see that in the world, there is the possibility there can be enough time. To move beyond there isn't enough time, as this particular commercial really addresses. When all was said and done, everybody was able to get there, right?
Yeah, busyness is unfortunately such an excuse sometimes. It's such a replacement for worthiness. And at some point, maybe I'm going to do a show about this, but at some point, we really need to talk about why are we keeping ourselves so busy, and why do we believe that's something good? Why do we believe when we are saying, oh, it's a weekend, I have to go to work, oh, I have been working through the holidays, why is that almost like something to show off with, rather than saying, well, poor me? I mean, we do too much and give ourselves permission to be too busy. And this way, I think, miss out on a lot of real joy and also real depth in life, because life is just rushing by without really being aware of what happens.
Well, I got to see it through the eyes of an 8-year-old. I mean, I got such a blessed reminder through this very special time that I got to spend with an 8-year-old, and know that, there is time to make that connection. And, this is really what I love about what you do, Dr. Friedemann. I mean, you introduce us to the possibilities that sometimes seem so far out of our own reach because we're so blocked by our own fear and our own anxiety and our own ideas about not being enough in the world. I mean, your work has been very, very special and is very, very special to all of us. So I wanted to thank you for all that you do. I wanted to thank you for showing up in this holiday season with this message to help other people. And we're so excited about the show that you're going to be doing and the world of opportunities that gets created. Thank you so much for all you do, and much love to you and your family.
Thank you very much. I certainly appreciate every time we spend together, and I'm really forward to this next opportunity to share with your listeners more about what I do. Have the show twice a month, which I'm really happy and excited about. And I just hope that all of the listeners, and of course you and Benny, also have a wonderful, blessed holiday season, and that you also take care of yourself and make sure that you're not celebrating only the holidays, but you're also celebrating yourself.
I will absolutely do that. Thank you. Dr. Friedemann Schaub, everybody go to the fearandanxietysolution.com. Fabulous, fabulous new website. Much love to Mr. Benny. Much love to all of you out there. And remember, Please celebrate, celebrate, celebrate yourself and your life. We'll see you next time.